What's up everyone, I'm Aaron and your host of Tales from the Reddit, where you get your daily dose of Reddit stories. This episode brought to you by Entitled Parents, where a father lets his child climb all over a preteen girl. Now, this story takes place about 16, 17 years ago. I suddenly remembered after trying to sleep. Now, the memory is a little fuzzy, but the incident itself is pretty vivid. I hope this fits here. Now, I'm a 28-year-old woman and I was on a trip with an all-girls club from my elementary school. I was either 11, 12 at the time, and I was skinny and even on the frail side, you could say. This is, oddly enough, a mildly important detail. Now, the trip we went on was out of state to an amusement park with a water park that was attached to it. And we split off in groups, each of about 4 or 5 girls, and each group had a chaperone. My group decided to go to the water park first. It was mid to late spring, so the morning was a bit cold. One of my friends and I were getting a little too cold after playing on the water slides. Our lips were turning pretty pale. So we asked our chaperone if we could break off from the group for a bit and sit in the large communal hot tub. Now, she made us promise to stay in sight of the lifeguard and come right back when we were done. So we walked over, got in, and plopped right on the seats right in front of the lifeguard. Now, for some visual, this hot tub was one of those hot tubs made of cement, and it was more like a ring of water with a large slab in the middle of it. It was maybe 3.5 feet deep with 2-foot cement benches on either side. It's one of those hot tubs where you couldn't swim in it, really only just sit and relax. Now, you could really describe it as a flat-shaped fountain with benches in the water. Now, after we had been in there for a few minutes, a rather husky child entered the hot tub. He might have been 6 or 7, but he was quite large. Now, to give some visual, this child, who was 3/4 my height and twice my weight, proceeds to climb on my lap, stand on my thighs, and jump into the hot tub repeatedly. The lifeguard kept telling him to knock it off, since not only was he bothering people, he was doing something really dangerous. But, as you guessed, he just kept doing it. He was only climbing on me though. My friend kept telling him to stop too, but he just looked at us and did it again. We looked around to see if anyone was with this child, and I saw a man watching this kid. He saw me look at him and crossed his arms, staring down his nose at me, as if daring me to say something. After the 8th time, the kid used me as a shallow pool diving board. The poor teenage lifeguard was at his wit's end, telling the kid to get out. I don't know really what happened after, since I was sick of being treated like a literal object and left. It's anticlimactic, but I was just a kid, and I was scared of this fat kid's father. I've never been good at confrontation, and we were done warming up, so I told my friend we should just go back. I did tell the chaperone what happened, and we went back to look for the dad, but they were gone by the time we got over there. I can only assume that the brat thought someone else was just as much of a pushover as I was and climbed on the wrong person, who was much more effective in displaying their displeasure. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I just wanted to enjoy the rest of the trip. I had never been to this place before, and I wasn't going to let some fat kid and his dad ruin my day. But I did have some bruising on my legs where the kid's heels dug into my flesh when he was trying to balance, but there was no real lasting damage. At least now, I'm less of a pushover than I used to be, so that's no longer something I'd put up with.